still killed in Vietnam.
Before Doctor Who got trendy in the US, and before time travel was cool again, there was Quantum Leap, a science fiction show with heart, brains, and a wildly original twist. Premiering in 1989, it wasn't just about jumping through time, it was about fixing history, one body at a time. But beyond Sam and Al's heartfelt journeys, the show hides some bizarre, funny, and little-known secrets. Let's leap into 15 weird facts you probably never knew about Quantum Leap. Number 1. The title came from a science book. So here's something you probably didn't know. The name Quantum Leap wasn't just pulled out of thin air. The show's creator, Donald Bellisario, actually got the idea from a book called Coming of Age in the Milky Way by Timothy Ferris. It's a deep dive into how humans understand the universe, and somewhere in there, the phrase quantum leap really stood out to him. Now technically, a quantum leap is a teeny tiny shift at the atomic level, but Bellisario thought it sounded way cooler than that. More like a bold, game-changing move through time and space. And let's be honest, that's exactly what Sam Beckett was doing. The best part? The show's leaps were anything but small. Sam didn't just pop into someone's day, he full-on became them. One day he's a soldier, the next he's a teenage girl in the 60s. And yep, there's that one time he was a chimp. No kidding, we'll get to that in a bit. Number 2. Dean Stockwell's cigar? Totally his idea. Let's talk about Al. Sam's wisecracking, woman-chasing hologram sidekick with a love for flashy suits and cigars. That ever-present cigar wasn't in the script originally. Nope, that was all Dean Stockwell. Apparently, Stockwell had one simple reason for adding it. He wanted free cigars for the entire run of the show. And guess what? He got exactly that. For 5 straight years, he puffed away on premium stogies, on camera and off. Legend. But it wasn't just a power move. The cigar ended up being the perfect little character detail for Al. It gave him this sleazy Vegas lounge vibe, which worked beautifully with the loud shirts and gaudy jewelry. Al wasn't your typical science fiction sidekick, and the cigar helped set that tone. Even better, Dean Stockwell had full creative freedom to shape Al. From his wardrobe to his one-liners, he made the character completely his own. The result? One of the most unforgettable, oddly lovable weirdos in science fiction TV history.
The lights, the music, the girls. Al.
Number 3. Sam once leaped into a chimp. You think Quantum Leap was weird? Oh, you have no idea. One of the wildest episodes in the entire series is when Sam leaps into, wait for it, a chimpanzee. Not a person, an actual chimp. The episode's called The Wrong Stuff, and it's as bananas as it sounds. Sam finds himself in the body of a test chimp named Bobo in a NASA lab during the early days of the space race. His mission? Prevent another chimp from dying in a failed rocket test. Yeah, not your typical time travel plot. To his credit, Scott Bakula fully commits. He grunts, he climbs, he even mimics ape mannerisms. And believe it or not, the episode manages to balance comedy with real heart. It raises questions about animal testing, scientific ethics, and what it means to be human, even if you're not one. It's one of those episodes that fans either love or totally scratch their heads at. But admit it, only Quantum Leap could pull something like this off. Number 4. NBC gave it a whole week to save it. Back in the early 90s, Quantum Leap was one of those shows that critics loved, but the ratings didn't always agree. It constantly danced on the edge of cancellation. So what did NBC do to keep it alive? They got creative. In the summer of 1990, NBC launched something called Quantum Leap Week. For 5 nights in a row, they aired episodes back-to-back, hoping to catch more eyeballs and boost the show's following. It was a rare move back then, essentially a mini binge before binge-watching was even a thing. And believe it or not, it actually worked. The week helped pull in new fans and gave existing ones a reason to stick around. It didn't skyrocket the ratings, but it was just enough to keep the show leaping from season to season. Without that experimental week, we might not have gotten later iconic episodes like The Leap Home or Mirror Image. So yeah, NBC may have saved the series with a simple programming stunt.
Why did you want to travel through time?
Because I wanted
To make the world a better place?
of course, to make the world a better place.
Number 5. Sam became a woman, more than once. Time travel rule number 1 in Quantum Leap. Sam never knows who he's going to be next, and sometimes that meant waking up in a body that was very much not his own, like a woman's. Yep, Sam leaped into women multiple times during the series, and each time it threw him for a loop. From pageant queens to single moms, he had to deal with everything from wearing high heels to facing gender discrimination head-on. In the episode, What Price Gloria, Sam leaps into a 1960s secretary and finds himself navigating the workplace as a woman, complete with harassment from her sleazy boss. It's awkward, uncomfortable, and surprisingly powerful. Sam even says it's one of the hardest things he's ever done. And let's be honest, watching Scott Bakula learn how to walk in pumps and apply lipstick is both hilarious and weirdly relatable. But the show didn't treat it like a joke. It used those moments to make a point about empathy, identity, and how different the world can look depending on who you are. Only Quantum Leap could pull that off and make you think while you laugh.
Oh my God. It's true.
No, you can lower that.
I'm a woman.
Number 6. Ziggy was voiced by a co-creator.
Well, Ziggy, you're looking very user-friendly.
I see that Simo leaping with Admiral Calavici has had a positive effect on you. You're in for some pleasant surprises, Dr. Alisi.
Ziggy, the talkative and temperamental supercomputer behind Sam's leaps, had a voice that fans instantly recognized. But here's something a lot of people don't know. Ziggy was voiced by Deborah Pratt, who was also a co-creator and executive producer of Quantum Leap. Yep, she wasn't just behind the scenes, she was literally in the scenes, speaking through Ziggy's snarky lines and quirky updates. And Ziggy had attitude. From sarcastic remarks to emotional outbursts, that voice gave the computer more personality than most humans on other shows. Pratt was a huge part of the creative team throughout the series. She helped shape the tone, stories, and characters, and she was married to Donald Belisario during the early years of production. So her fingerprints are all over Quantum Leap, from both a technical and storytelling standpoint. Fans have even said that Ziggy deserves more credit as a full-fledged character. And knowing that the voice came from someone who helped build the entire universe, that just makes it even cooler. Number 7. Oh Boy wasn't in the script.
Now. Come over there. What is she doing?
Oh, boy.
Lee, look.
One of the strangest and most beloved things about Quantum Leap is how Dr. Sam Beckett reacts every time he leaps into a new person's life. Whether he finds himself as a pregnant woman, a chimpanzee, or even Lee Harvey Oswald, his go-to reaction is always the same. Oh boy. But here's the weird part. That phrase wasn't even in the original script. Actor Scott Bakula improvised it during early filming, and it stuck. The line captured Sam's mixture of confusion, panic, and curiosity so perfectly that the writers kept using it. Over time, it became his trademark catchphrase. Fans started looking forward to it every episode. It was like a signal that things were about to get crazy. So that one offhand line turned into one of the most iconic phrases in science fiction TV history.
Oh, Philip. Why the hell are you here?
Oh, boy.
Number 8. The Lost Alternate Ending. If you've seen the final episode of Quantum Leap, you probably remember how it ends. Quietly, mysteriously, and with that haunting title card. Dr. Sam Beckett never returned home. It left fans heartbroken and confused. But here's the kicker. That wasn't the only ending they filmed. Yep, there's a lost alternate ending that stayed hidden for decades. It was discovered in 2019 when a fan unearthed behind-the-scenes footage that had never aired. In that version, Al's wife, Beth, receives a message from Sam telling her that Al is alive and coming home. The two are reunited. Happy ending, right? Apparently, this was intended to offer closure, not just for Al, but for Sam's entire journey. But NBC decided against using it. They wanted something more open-ended, more thought-provoking. Some fans loved the mystery, others hated the ambiguity. Scott Bakula later confirmed that multiple endings were shot, but only one made the final cut. The fact that we almost got a totally different emotional payoff, that just makes the ending we got even more intriguing and kind of heartbreaking. It's one of TV's greatest what could have been moments. Number 9. When Sam Beckett becomes a lounge singer in Piano Man. In the Quantum Leap episode Piano Man, Sam leaps into a nightclub pianist, and yep, he ends up singing Somewhere in the Night to a live audience. Here's the weird part. Scott Bakula is actually the one singing. No voiceover, no stand-in. It's really him, and he nails it. Fans were surprised because up until that point, no one really knew Bakula could sing like that. But it gets weirder. Bakula was actually a trained musical theater actor before Quantum Leap. He even starred on Broadway. So this episode was kind of his moment to sneak that talent into the show. Imagine watching a science fiction time travel drama, and suddenly the lead breaks into a heartfelt power ballad, and it works. Totally unexpected, but also kind of perfect. Number 10. Fans funded Dean Stockwell's Walk of Fame star. If you need proof that Quantum Leap fans are some of the most loyal in TV history, look no further than this. When Dean Stockwell, our beloved Al, was finally set to receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, it was the fans who made it happen. In 1992, a group of dedicated fans calling themselves the Leapers organized a fundraising campaign to cover the cost of the star's installation. At the time, it cost over $15,000 to get a star on the Walk of Fame. NBC didn't pay for it. The studio didn't either. But the fans? They showed up in full force. They wrote letters. They donated money. They spread the word in fan clubs and conventions. Remember, this was pre-social media. It was pure grassroots dedication. Dean Stockwell was genuinely touched by the gesture, and it became one of those rare moments where the line between a TV show and real life blurred in the best way. It wasn't just about honoring an actor, it was about celebrating a character and a show that meant something deeply personal to so many people.
Me, the ensign that said that anyone with the rank above lieutenant was a horse's ass. Bet you didn't hear me, did you?
Number 11. Inspired by classic time travel stories. Quantum Leap didn't just come out of nowhere. It was actually inspired by a bunch of older time travel stories and classic Hollywood films. Donald Belisario pulled influence from movies like Here Comes Mr. Jordan, 1941, and Heaven Can Wait, 1943, both about people who die or nearly die and get sent back to Earth in someone else's body. Sound familiar? He also gave a nod to the 60s TV show The Time Tunnel, which featured two scientists stuck jumping through different periods in history. Belisario loved the idea of characters being lost in time, but he wanted to give it heart. So instead of just fixing history, Sam fixed people's lives. The key twist? Sam's leaps were emotional. He wasn't just trying to make history right. He was trying to make it better, on a personal level. That's what made the show stand out from other science fiction at the time. So yeah, Quantum Leap wasn't the first to play with time travel, but it definitely brought something new to the table.
Where would you like to go, Sam?
Soul. Number 12. Quantum Leap took on homophobia and lost sponsors. Quantum Leap was never afraid to go there. Sure, it was a science fiction show, but it constantly tackled serious, real-world issues, from racism to sexism to war trauma. But one episode in particular really pushed boundaries. Running for Honor. In this 1992 episode, Sam leaps into a Naval Academy student and finds himself in the middle of a story involving a gay friend being targeted by other cadets. At the time, TV rarely handled LGBTQ+ topics with nuance, especially not on a primetime network drama. But this episode went all in. The backlash was immediate. Over 20 NBC affiliates either refused to air the episode or moved it to a different time slot. Even worse, the network lost around $500,000 in advertising revenue from sponsors who pulled out. That's a huge hit for one episode. But Belisario and the cast stood by it. And here's the kicker. Dean Stockwell, who played the always flamboyant Al, said it was one of his favorite episodes. He called it brave, and it was. The fact that Quantum Leap took that risk back in the early 90s shows just how ahead of its time the series really was. Number 13. The show's broadcast schedule was a total mess. If you were watching Quantum Leap when it originally aired, you probably remember this frustrating detail. You never knew when it was on. Seriously, NBC moved the show around so much, even die-hard fans had trouble keeping up. It bounced all over the weekly schedule. First it aired on Wednesdays, then it got shoved to Fridays, TV's death slot, then to Tuesdays, and even had a few Sunday specials. It felt like NBC didn't know what to do with it. They loved the show critically, but it just couldn't find a consistent audience. And a lot of that came down to time slots. Every time the network moved it, viewers dropped off. This constant shuffle killed the show's momentum and made it tough to build long-term ratings. The fan base was loyal, but even the most devoted leapers couldn't follow a moving target forever. Some TV historians believe Quantum Leap could have run longer if NBC had just picked a night and stuck with it. Instead, it became a classic that never quite got the ratings it deserved, at least not in real time. Number 14. Sam Beckett was a literal genius. Okay, we all knew Sam was smart. But did you know he had 6 doctorates? Yep, 6. Medicine, quantum physics, engineering, psychology, and a couple more just for fun. The guy was basically a human Swiss Army knife. Need brain surgery in the 1950s? No problem. Build a laser in the 60s? He's got you. But here's the twist. While Sam is a genius, every time he leaps, his memory gets scrambled. They call it Swiss cheese brain, and it's actually a brilliant writing device. It lets Sam remember just enough to get by, but also forget just enough so the audience learns things with him. It kept the stories grounded and gave the show emotional weight. The best part? It wasn't just about flexing his IQ. Sam used his brains to help people, whether it was solving a crime, saving a marriage, or stopping a disaster. He wasn't some cold super genius. He was kind, empathetic, the smartest guy in the room, but also the one with the biggest heart. Honestly, TV could use more Sams. Number 15. The show has roots in Battlestar Galactica. It might surprise you to learn that Quantum Leap shares DNA with Battlestar Galactica. Seriously. Before Sam was leaping through time, creator Donald Bellisario was helping shape starships and Cylons. Bellisario worked closely with Galactica creator Glenn A. Larson back in the late 70s. While Battlestar was all space battles and intergalactic politics, Bellisario was more interested in characters, their stories, their struggles, and their humanity. That mindset followed him straight into Quantum Leap. In fact, some early concepts for Quantum Leap were a bit more space-age. It originally leaned more into traditional science fiction, space travel, gadgets, aliens. But Bellisario made a bold pivot. What if the science was just the setup, and the real story was about changing people's lives? That shift is what made Quantum Leap feel so different from everything else on TV at the time. So while Sam never ended up fighting Cylons, the show's core, a man on a mission to help others, one leap at a time, was shaped by Bellisario's science fiction roots. From leaping into chimps to challenging social norms, Quantum Leap was never just a science fiction show. It was something way more human. Behind the goofy moments and heartfelt episodes are stories, choices, and facts that most fans never hear about. So if you grew up watching Sam and Al, or you're just now discovering the magic of the show, consider this your invite to leap back in. Like, subscribe, and tell us, what's your favorite Quantum Leap moment? The next leap could be yours.